right, goody goody. Since we're talking about superheroes today, I thought it would be appropriate to put this or cast this in a sort of a cartoon light. So that's why I'm speaking to you directly from the pages of a comic book, live action. So here's some thoughts about the Superfreaks anthology, which I've just put out a call for submissions for through Nocturnicorn books. And because there appears to be some confusion as to the actual concept, I'm going to try to explain what my thinking has been. And last year I started work on a series of stories about a guy named Razor Baby, and Razor Baby is a sort of I guess you would call him an anti-hero or a dark superhero or a villain. And some of those stories were published in, for example, Indiana Horror Review 2016, and James Ward Kirk also published Ugly Babies 3, so that was a venue for that. There was also some stories by people like J.K. Wilde. Her story in the second Floppy Shoes Apocalypse book, Cherry Nose Armageddon, featuring little Johnny Cotton, who's a serial killing clown, who's kind of a badass. I mean, Jennifer and I adore this character, and we're working on some more adventures featuring some of the characters who are associated with little Johnny. And then there was Marianne Back, H.R. Baldwood's Mr. Weasel's character is also sort of a demonic clown. So some of these characters, I guess, that I've been working with either as an editor or as an author or both over the last couple of years had sort of percolated in my brain, and I started to think about, well, there's a kind of a trend towards, I guess, gangsta sort of superheroes or anti-heroes or supervillains or what have you, who we kind of like. I mean, there's like obvious example is Suicide Squad, which has, you know, the Joker and Harley Quinn, and everybody loves Harley Quinn. And I was watching that movie, and I was thinking, yeah, I really like the whole dark edge to it. I mean, these are kind of, they're almost like the new superheroes, only they're twisted in a way. I mean, they have their own morality. And I was thinking, well, what if you could detach that aspect of it? You know, the fact that they're sort of dark and larger than life, and they have these powers, right? And if you could detach that from the whole idea that they have their own alternate ethics or morality or honor among thieves or what have you, and the line that recurs in the movie with Will Smith and what's her face, Harley Quinn. Anyway, that kind of started to get on my nerves. Was, you know, every once in a while, one of the characters would you know, turn on the other and you know, say, own that shit. You know, like, in other words, there was this whole implied idea from New Age psychobabble that you know, you have to be responsible for your actions, even if you're going around basically like massacring people, and you're no good son of a bitch, but you know, you're a serial killer, but somehow owning or being responsible for your actions among your fellow dark loonies is a sort of a alternate form of morality. And I was just like, well, what if we had that? You know, what if we had everything we love about this sort of alternate universe of dark, you know, dark superheroes, or really, if we could sort of cut that binary, you know, strand in half and say there's dark superheroes and there's light supervillains, and maybe we could just sort of try to transcend that, you know, that binary. I was like, well, what if we could get rid of that? You know, own that shit. I mean, why? And it sort of ties in with a, you know, a question I always had with the, you know, the slogan of, I guess it's Spider-Man: with great power comes great responsibility. And I was always thinking, yeah, but not really, because if you have great power, why do you need responsibility? And if you want to get highfalutin about it, Friedrich Nietzsche talks about this this very idea in his books like Beyond Good and Evil and The Genealogy of Morals, where he discusses how we've come to this place as civilized creatures where we have to own things, or there's this idea of a sort of an equation between our actions and a quantitative adjustment of our freedom in relationship to other people, and that we owe something to other people, and it gets into existentialism, and we're not really talking about that. We're talking about like entertainment and fun. So if you're out there and you're still watching and you haven't fallen asleep, this is Alex S. Johnson from Nocturnicorn Books, and I've just put out a call for submissions for a new anthology called Superfreaks, Beyond Good and Evil. And this is sort of an expanded call for submissions. So if you're interested, I've put out the call for submissions, the submission requirements, and I'm also opening myself up for any questions you might have if you want to message me and so forth. My only caveat is I'm not talking about another anthology which, you know, very, very superficially, I guess it has superheroes in the title or whatever, and I guess there's some notion that being floated about that, you know, my idea is a theft of that idea, which is like sort of trying to steal the fire from Plato's cave. Not really. No, it's completely different. So talk to me. Let's talk. Let's engage. If you have questions or concerns or whatever, just, you know, we're here to do something different, do something fresh, and do something hopefully entertaining and write some stories. So thank you for listening.